Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the first evening edition of the Hyperactive Conservative. I'm John Gale. It's Thursday, May 14th, 2020. We want to get right into the news. Make sure you invite your friends, like, share, and follow. Give us a thumbs up right now and let everyone know that you are tuning in. Start a watch party right now and invite your friends. We're going to have a time. I promise. We're going to get right to some funny memes today. It's what we like to call the crazy Corona news. Yes, indeed, and it gets crazier every single day. Let's see what we got today. I've got just some exciting memes here. Hang on just a second as I pull up what we're looking for today. And that's some downloads right now. Sorry about this. A little delayed today. Not sure why. Okay. We want to get right to this one. This one's quite interesting as we turn off our, not the name title, but our logo today. Yeah. All right, let's take a look at this. I thought this was quite humorous. Marijuana is legal. Haircuts are not. It took 50 years, but the hippies have finally won. That's a funny one. That deserves the laugh of the day. That's for sure. Yeah. Oh, more crazy Corona news. Excuse me for all of the technical difficulties today. I'm not sure what's going on with all of this. Oh, this is funny. Kim Jong-un, he says, why Biden get no virus? He sniff everyone. He sniff everyone. And then if your pillow, wait a second. I'm not sure what's going on here. If your pillow happens to look like this, then you can survive the coronavirus. How many have had a nasty pillow over the years? I know I certainly have. Finally, here's the line outside of the Home Depot, waiting their turn at the Home Depot. Tell me again why we can't vote at the polls. Why can't we do that? We want to get right into some trending news now on the Hyperactive Conservative. Yes, and there's lots of news going on, that is for certain. We want to start right off with, what's going on with the whole probe into Michael Flynn. Senator Ron Johnson said today the top Obama administration officials involved in the Russian investigation, they had a clear lack of respect for the country's tradition to peacefully transfer power after an election. Johnson said that the FBI knew all along that there was no evidence of Russian collusion. And Johnson said the former FBI director, James Comey, engineered the appointment of a special counsel in spite of the lack of evidence of Russian collusion, putting the U.S. through a constitutional crisis for 3 years that hampered the Trump administration to a great extent. Johnson's comments came after it was revealed that top Obama administration officials purportedly requested to unmask the identity of former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn during the presidential transition period, according to a list of names that the controversial process made public on Wednesday. The list was declassified in recent days by Acting Director of National Intelligence, Richard Grenell, and then sent to GOP Senators Chuck Grassley and Johnson, who made the documents public. The roster features top-ranking figures, including the then Vice President Joe Biden, something that is already being raised by the Trump campaign in the bare-knuckle 2020 presidential race, in which Biden is now the Democrats' presumptive nominee. This is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, guys, and you watch. Obama will be thrown into the mix very shortly. Meanwhile, Nancy Pelosi said the silliest thing on C-SPAN. Near the beginning of a press briefing today, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, dressed in black, described the current moment as really quite an exciting time for us. Now, why would she say quite an exciting time? And then she described it as a sad time, citing the number of people who had died from COVID-19, the number who were infected, and the number of people who have lost their jobs. Let's just watch it in her own words.
This is really quite an exciting time for us because we have a monumental need for our country at this sad time. You know the figures. Nearly 85,000 people tragically dead.
I think what you saw here is a little bit of a Freudian slip. Let's watch it one more time. Why would she call this a very exciting time? Why?
Exciting time for us.
An exciting time for us. And then she changes, it's a very sad time. Why would she say it's an exciting time? Because for the Democrats, it is a very exciting time. They have got all the unemployment that they need. They've got people by the strings. Without clear planning and implementation of the steps that I and others have outlined, 2020 will be the darkest winter in modern history. Quite an exciting time, Pelosi. Yeah. Meanwhile, today, Governor Nome has launched Back to Normal. And people are the power of the government, not the media. Well, it is South Dakota, and they have hardly any infections of COVID-19 in comparison to other states. But she signed an executive order to help her state get back to normal following the coronavirus pandemic. The Back to Normal executive order gives guidance for individuals, employers, healthcare providers, schools, and local governments. The state never issued stay-at-home orders in South Dakota. Our state motto is, under God, the people rule. This is what our system of government is all about. The people of South Dakota are the source of the power and the legitimacy of our government, not the media, not the politicians, not political parties. That's a healthy perspective for an elected official to keep in mind, Nome said on Tuesday. Tell me about it. I like this lady. The Back to Normal executive order gives guidance for individuals, employers, healthcare providers, schools, and local governments during the stay-at-home order, and they never issued a stay-at-home order in South Dakota whatsoever. Pretty cool. In today's plan, she said, I'm not announcing any new government programs, more red tape, more prescriptive phases or tight controls or anything like that. That is not South Dakota, Nome said. Rather, the plan I'm unveiling today puts the power of the decision-making into the hands of the people where it belongs. Today's plan relies on South Dakotans to continue to exercise common sense, reasonableness, innovation, and a commitment to themselves, their families, and in turn, their communities. Wow. Got to keep an eye on this lady. Meanwhile, more about Nancy Pelosi. Oh, of course, I agree with the decisions of the people on the ground in their particular venue and location, Mrs. Pelosi. California Democrats said on MSNBC's Morning Joe show. But because, again, as Dr. Fauci has said earlier, I wish the president would listen to him or even hear him, that you cannot pretend it went away and go out there, she continued. So, yes, it's inconvenient, but it's even more inconvenient if you're going to be infected or worse, or if you're going to go out to work and bring something home to your family. I think that's the biggest fear that all of us have, is what it means to the children and the family members. Put your mask back on, Nancy. Nobody wants to see that face. Of course, Nancy and all of the other Democrats are jumping on board of continuing the lockdown for as much as 3 more months, despite the fact that infection rates and death rates have declined drastically. Will we ever actually not have any deaths from COVID-19? Of course not. Will we ever not have deaths from a car accident or cancer or heart attacks? No, but why is it that heart attack declines, stroke declines dramatically? All of a sudden, the fatality rates of heart attacks have gone down the tubes. Stroke fatality rates have gone down the tubes. Meanwhile, COVID. Everyone has declared a COVID-19 death, whether they died from COVID-19 or they died from a heart attack. Meanwhile, suicide rates are up 800% since all of this shutdown began. Herman Cain has reported after a court refused to shut him down, Whitmer has that 77-year-old barber's license revoked. Can you believe this? Carl Mankey, his license to work as a barber in Owosso has been suspended, according to his attorney. The Michigan Department of Licensing and Regulatory Affairs licensed all barbers and hairstylists in the state. And Mankey's attorney says the agency suspended the license more than a week after Mankey reopened in violation of state orders. State regulators confirmed to ABC 12 News that Mankey's license has been suspended. Mankey was still open and cutting hair on Wednesday morning because he hadn't officially been served notice of the suspension. but the loss of his license would prohibit Mankey from working as a barber. What do you think that's really going to stop Mankey? Do you think that people are going to stop wanting to get their hair cut from this patriot 77-year-old barber who just needs to make some money so he can put food on his table and keep living life? Are we really going to suspend his license? Whitmer, complete idiot. As we told you earlier this week, Governor Gretchen Whitmer, has been having a tough time figuring out what to do with this elderly danger to the public. Whitmer's ally, Attorney General Dana Nelson, tried to find a court that would order Mankey shut down, and she had no such luck. The county sheriff's department also refused to enforce this or any other shutdown order Whitmer has imposed. And remember, she imposed these orders without the legislature's approval and is being sued for it. I wonder if she's going to be around much longer as a governor. I don't think so. What do you think? Wow. Some excellent news out of California. The Daily Wire is reporting Republican Mike Garcia has defeated Democrat Christy Smith in a special election for California's 25th congressional district, making the very first time that the Republican Party has flipped a U.S. House seat in California in more than 2 decades. What does this show you? While it's critical that we ensure every vote is counted and recorded, we believe that the current tally shows Mike Garcia is likely the victor in the May 12th special election, Smith said in a statement conceding defeat. As such, I'd like to congratulate him. Dave Wasserman, U.S. House editor of the nonpartisan Cook Political Report, noticed that it was the first time that Republicans had flipped the seat in California since 1998. Garcia held a comfortable 12-point lead over Smith, with 76.3% of precincts reported at the time she conceded. The Washington Post reported a win for Garcia gives Republicans an opportunity to boast that this is evidence that they can claw back these types of suburban swing districts that they lost in the 2018 midterms. President Donald Trump was already celebrating Garcia's win early on Wednesday morning, writing on Twitter, "Big congressional win in California for Mike Garcia, taking back a seat from the Democrats. This is the first time in many years that a California Dem seat has been flipped back to Republican." Also, Tom Tiffany beat his Democrat rival big in Wisconsin. 2 great congressional wins. Garcia released a statement on Wednesday saying that after seeing more results last night, it's clear that our message of lower taxes and ensuring that we don't take liberal Sacramento dysfunction to Washington prevailed. Yeah, you got poop in the streets of California. No wonder they don't want another Dem in there. As my dog barks. All righty. Some good news from Tyson today. They are cutting the prices of red meat. Yeah, that's very good news. Amid a recent surge in beef prices because of shortages across the United States, Tyson is cutting prices on its red meat at grocery stores this week. Tyson is lowering the price of beef by 20 to 30% this week in a move to keep it very affordable, the Wall Street Journal has reported. "We're doing this because we want to help keep beef on families' tables," Noel White, the company's chief executive, told the Journal. Prices for meat has spiked over concerns that the national's meat supply is dwindling. And I did have another report that I really wanted to get in here. Let me see if I can possibly bring this up for you really quickly. Just real quick, I'm going to try to do a fast search. Just talk amongst yourselves for just a moment. Here we go. This is it. It wouldn't load. So we're going to go ahead and load it a different way. There we go. Listen to this. New stories appeared in early 2017 about Michael Flynn's conversation with Russia's ambassadors to the U.S. These columns wondered why Mr. Flynn's call was so widely known. The names of private U.S. citizens caught on tape by U.S. intelligence are supposed to be masked so their privacy is protected. Well, now we know. GOP Senators Chuck Grassley and Ron Johnson on Wednesday released a declassified list of Obama administration officials who, in their waning days in power, unmasked the conversations of Mr. Flynn, who was set to become President Trump's national security advisor. It seems everyone but the night janitor wanted to know who Mr. Flynn was talking to. A stunning 39 separate officials snooped on Mr. Flynn's conversation with foreign actors, lodging nearly 50 unmasking demands between November 30th of 2016 and January 12th of 2017. Our sources say that nearly a dozen redacted names on the list are likely intelligence types who might have a legitimate interest in knowing who their foreign targets were in speaking to the U.S. But most of the rest are partisan officials who had no business spying on their successors. This finally coming out in the Wall Street Journal, not a Republican publication. The list includes then White House Chief of Staff Dennis McDonough, then Vice President Joe Biden, and then Secretary of Treasury Jacob Lew, Ambassador to the UN, and Obama confidant Samantha Power made no fewer than 7 requests, though she told Congress she had no recollection of unmasking Flynn. All of this is fodder for the U.S. Attorney John Durham as he tries to unmask the origins of the Russia collusion political ambush. The Flynn unmaskings and the timely media leaks take the story into the Obama White House, the Wall Street Journal said. The peaceful transition of power is a hallmark of American democracy, or at least it used to be. It isn't supposed to be an opportunity for the administration that lost the election to cripple its successors as they take power. Wow, that, my friends, is a bombshell from the Wall Street Journal. This thing is going to blow up, and I can't wait. I can't wait for all of this to come down. We have spent 3 years and millions of dollars in investigation for the Russian collusion, which was a total hoax from the very beginning. And now it's all coming out. Trump is finally draining the swamp. And this, our last report on today's Hyperactive Conservative. Do you know what day of the week it is? A study has found that you might be feeling like all your days blur together lately. You're definitely not alone, as millions of Americans continue to spend 24 hours a day at home during the coronavirus pandemic. It's becoming unworryingly common for people to forget what day it is. According to a new survey of 2,000 U.S. adults, hey, Terry Shope, glad you're tuning in, my brother. Do you know what day it is? It's Thursday. According to a new survey of 2,000 U.S. adults, the average person can't seem to recall what day it is at least 5 times a week. Another 80% said that each day is just like the other one before it at this point. Humorously, 59% of respondents didn't even know what day it was when they filled out the survey, which was commissioned by RX Bar. Clearly, all of this monotony isn't exactly healthy, both mentally and physically. A significant portion of participants, 65%, said they're struggling to stay motivated during this lockdown period. It's a struggle. Nearly 75% have given up on real clothes and spend all day, every day, in sweatpants. Many respondents also have a hard time getting in the right headspace for work. Many constantly feel unprepared for professional Zoom calls, and 69% of them just can't focus on work tasks while at home. Meanwhile, a full 50% are doing their best to keep up an exercise routine. That's admirable. And 39% are trying to stick to a set schedule to help maintain a sense of normalcy. Other reported ways Americans are staying positive these days are using snacks as motivators, 36%, keeping a to-do list, 34%, asking a friend or partner to hold them accountable, 32%, giving oneself small rewards for finishing tasks, those are more snacks, 31%, and dressing for work like everything is normal, 22%. And that is our last story on today's Hyperactive Conservative. I certainly hope that you have enjoyed the show today. We'll be back at our regular time tomorrow morning, 11:30 Eastern Standard Time. I hope you enjoyed this evening edition. If you did, give us a thumbs up and share it, and like us and follow on Facebook. Until next time, you guys have a great day. Be safe, wash your hands, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.